Well, hello there, this is Cool Dude Clem, also known here as the Music Wizard, and I guess I sort of am gonna be living up to that name later on because kinda will be doing a little bit of dark wizardry. You'll see what I mean. But first I have an announcement. Now, when I started this channel, however long ago it was, I uploaded a whole bunch of songs, and I uploaded the Open Modplug Tracker modules and MP3s onto other websites, thinking that they would be up there forever. And it turns out I was wrong. So since then, those have disappeared from those servers, and people have been asking, well, where can I download this, and where can I download that? So what I've gone and done is I've re-uploaded all of those to my Google Drive, and that's where they're gonna stay. And I'm gonna put a link in the description where you can download these, so you can relive great memories such as and even so they're all in MP3 format, along with the original modules as well. You're just going to need my VST effects collection and a really recent version of Open Modplug Tracker to play them, because I did a little bit of a touch-up to each of those before I uploaded them, so they're going to sound even better than they did before. You see, the version of Modplug Tracker I have is, I think it's version 12.04 or something like that. And earlier versions of Modplug Tracker might not be compatible. I'm gonna fart. So regarding my future modules, I'm gonna be going more in the way of VST instruments and FM synth. Since the more recent versions of Open Modplug Tracker have ad-lib emulation, I thought, well, I might as well use it, and I can get some pretty good sounds out of it too. So this one here only uses one sample, which is a noise sample, and the rest was all done with the ad-lib sound. But it's still early days, so it's gonna be a while since anything with FM synthesis goes up. I'm still learning. Now, as for VSTs, I used to just sample from them and then use the samples, and for the most part that's what I'm still gonna do. But when it comes to drums, however, I found that the Steven Slate drums free version is really good, and it's just about everything I'm gonna need in a drum VST. So when it comes to acoustic drums, this is what I'm gonna sample from. I'm gonna try to keep the sample loops nice and small, but still sounding reasonably good. In fact, I found one trick, and if I play this through a tape recorder, record them onto tape and then play the tape back into the computer, it sounds amazing. I mean, the tape saturation just seems to breathe new life into the sound, and although that's not what I'm doing in this video, I'm just putting that out there saying that's what I'm gonna do. Unless, of course, I'm using chip drums or drum machine drums like a Linn drum or a TR-909 or something like that. Well, I've got samples of those anyway, so it's not gonna be any big deal. I can tweak this any way I want to get the drum sound I need. I can tune the snare, I can tune the kick drum or any of the other drums come to that manner. I can adjust the mixing, I can turn the individual microphones on and off. I can dial in the drum sound that I need pretty much every time. And it's just easier to use that than using samples. And as for the bass, I want to use Modo bass for the bass line in my music. I mean, I just love the way this VST sounds. It's just about the most realistic bass VST that I've ever heard, yet it's all synthesis based. It even beats some of the sample based paid VSTs. Now, don't worry, I'm not gonna make you all go out and buy a super expensive VST just so you can play my music. I'm not mean like that. I will be sampling from this instead. And because there's not much high-frequency content in bass, I can get away with an 11 or 12 kHz sample rate, and I also don't need to worry about sampling in stereo. And I'm not gonna lie, I am a cheapskate, and I cannot afford the full paid version, so what I've got here is the trial version, and although the 10-day trial has run out, I can still use it. It doesn't limit any of the features, but what it does do is if I just let it play normally, after a few seconds it does add noise to the sound. Now remember when I said I was going to do a little bit of dark wizardry or whatever? Well, this is what I was talking about because I found a way to get around the noise that it adds. If I break the bass line up into its component parts, you know, the individual riffs or licks or whatever you want to call it, I don't really know musical terminology. But if I play those all separately, stopping it when it reaches the end of each lick or riff or whatever you want to call it, and then make it play the next one in the same fashion, problem solved. None of them are long enough to trigger the noise. And for longer riffs or licks or whatever you want to call them, I can just split that up into smaller parts and then join it back together in Audacity and yeah. But I'm not forking out 200 or 300 or whatever it is. I just don't have that kind of money. I mean, if they didn't charge so much, like if they charged like maybe 30, which I think is a much more reasonable price, I'd be more than happy to pay that and get the full thing. But when you charge like 200 or 300 or whatever, you're just asking people to pirate it. Although I'm not stooping that low. I'll stick with the unregistered version and the editing in Audacity. Which is what I was gonna do anyway, even if I did have the paid version, so yeah, it doesn't really make much difference. Anyway, I think I've waffled on long enough, so yeah. Until next time, goodbye.